Okay, let's officially begin our adventure. And the first category that we are going to explore is content. It's a vital category because it's the one that helps us raise awareness on the wide range of topics that students are developing understanding about, and also those that they are going to explore throughout the year or throughout any academic period. If we remember a little bit what we saw in our introduction to CLIL, we had a very important quotation and it said, we talk about something. And when we say something, this something tells us the content, because contents are all of the topics that students are getting in touch in their learning process. Language is not everything, and now that we are in a point in which we are expanding our view as English teachers, we have to really dedicate importance to the number of topics or the number of subject matters about which students are developing understanding throughout the year. Because our big goal is to build progression in knowledge and also to build progression in understanding. So our question here is, well, how do we spot contents in our syllabus? Let's see. In order to do that, it's very important that we sit down with our colleagues in the English team of our institution and we ask ourselves, hey, what are our students learning about in our English classes? The answer to this question is going to give us a number of topics. But let's see how to spot them in a clear way. Okay, in order to spot contents, we need to be clear on something. Contents are not related to language at all, because we have a category for that, and it's communication. In order to spot contents, we need to be clear on the fact that contents are related to any subject areas, to any knowledge areas. They can be related to history, politics, biology, life itself, and even more areas. Because contents, in a clear definition, they are the topics, the concepts about which students are working on in our English classes, the topics about which students are understanding and building progression in knowledge, the subject matters, and the content course. What is that about which students are talking? What is that about which students are learning? That is going to help us identify the content. When we say life itself, you might be wondering, hey, but is that a knowledge area? Well, when we are very young learners, when we are teaching in preschool or primary school, somehow concepts are more basic. They can be, for example, colors, days of the week, places in the city, numbers, animals, daily life. They are basic, but they are still concepts. They are still topics about which students are talking or learning in our English classes. They are basic because the stage of development in which they are actually requires these kind of topics. Some other examples are celebrations, objects at school, feelings, family members, and seasons. So this is a wide range of examples of contents that we can identify when we are teaching in primary school or even preschool. When we are teaching in high school, contents, of course, are a little more complex. Some examples are space and planets, DNA, the cell, continents, countries, capitals, chemical elements, poverty, health, education system. So as we see, all of these topics are not related to language at all, they are not related to grammar either, and they are helping our students to build progression in knowledge and also in understanding. So let's do a little exercise. Let's spot the contents. Let's see which ones are contents and which ones are not. So we have this list: mammals, French Revolution, passive voice, weather, healthy food, wonders of the sea, adjectives, inventions, visual arts, describing people, personal pronouns. So take 20 seconds and try to see which ones are contents and which ones are not. Have you got an idea so far? Okay, let's share a little bit. So let's see which ones are not contents. Definitely passive voice, right? It's clearly related to grammar, clearly related to language. So we have a category for that, and this will go in communication, not in this category that is called contents. Adjectives. It is also related to language, it is not going to be a content. Describing people, and also personal pronouns. They are related to language, they are going to go in communication. In this sense, now we have a nice range of contents such as mammals, French Revolution, weather, healthy food, wonders of the sea, inventions, visual and visual arts. These are all contents. Okay, and there is something that we need to prevent you about, and it's that some contents can be cultural. There are some topics that evidently have a cultural dimension, and somehow you could be hesitating whether to place this topic in this category, content, or if you would rather place it in culture. In this sense, the answer is going to be, well, it is up to you, the decision is yours to make, and it depends on the interpretation or the way you are planning to work on this topic. If you are planning to work on this topic in a way in which students develop understanding, then content is going to be the best category for that. If the emphasis is more cultural and it's more about raising awareness and it has a clear cultural goal, then the best category for that is going to be culture. Here are some examples. Students could, for instance, be learning about the Cirque du Soleil, about protecting the sea, about global warming, Chinese arts, which are actually real examples taken from real books that some Bethlehemite schools are using in their contexts. Contents can be cultural, then, if they are related to world practices, global diversity, environmental care, if the topic is related to values, or even to global citizenship. So to sum up, and all in all, content is a category in which we engage students to understand. To understand what? A number of topics, a number of facts, a number of ideas, and it's very important that we make this difference. It's not about students memorizing or getting only in superficial touch with the topics, but to actually explore them and getting to understand these contents, these topics, these ideas. So the commitment that we as teachers have in this category is that we help students and that we engage them to understand. Okay, and once we have done this, we are going to do the following activity. This is going to be our performance of understanding that we are going to share in the discussion forum right here in this week. The first step is going to be to identify 10 contents, 10 topics in the English syllabus from the school at which you're working. So you're going to take your plans, your syllabus, and you're going to find 10 contents about which students are learning in your English lessons. That's not the end, because the following step is to evaluate these contents. So you are going to fill up this chart, you are going to write the 10 contents or the 10 topics that you identified, and in order to do that you can ask yourself this question: what non-language related topics do my students learn about? So here is the space for the 10 contents. Then let's analyze the relevance for real and for life outside school. Is this content that I identified here relevant? If so, how is it relevant and why? And we can identify a situation, a real life situation in which students are going to need knowledge about this content that we identified in this side of the chart. And last but not least, we are going to answer how likely is this situation to happen. What situation? The one that we identified here in this part. Is it very likely to happen? Is it somehow likely to happen? Or is it not likely at all to happen? That's going to be the question. Why are we doing this? Because we need to have a critical position towards the contents about which students are developing understanding. Are they really relevant? Do they have a real purpose for real life? Do they have a true meaning? And you might say, hey, what if I don't identify a content? Well, make sure you look again. Make sure you probably go back to the definition that we just gave, because we cannot conceive a communication class with topics to talk about, right? So usually contents are there. So this is why we say make sure you look again. If the case insists, you can ask yourself, oh, is my class only about grammar? Is the syllabus of the school I'm working at only about grammar? If that's the case, then you need to propose 10 contents to begin with, or 10 topics about which your students could learn. And then you can fill the chart. So this means that if you don't find 10 topics in the syllabus that you already have at your school, you are going to create these 10 contents. Okay, we hope that this little session about content was really interesting, and it was relevant enough for you to engage in this category. We are going to see you in our next category, which is communication. See you there.